Back out of the timeout with Milford continuing to trail Franklin 14-5, and you can make it an even 10-point lead now. It looks like we have gotten our live streaming issues worked out for the moment. It's been a little trickier to get our connection here in the gym to start this season, but it looks like we are good to go now, getting a clean feed coming through here at our broadcast setup. So for anyone looking to tune in here this evening that's had some connectivity issues through these early points, our apologies, but happy to have you aboard with us now. A 16-5 lead for the Franklin Panthers, coming out as advertised in this first set. Isabella Borges getting a nice deflection there off the hands of Jenna Simone. Milford trying to fight their way back into this set. Molly Hartman waiting to take over on serve. Sending this one to the back and too far out of play. And Franklin threatening to make quick work of this opening set. The libero Georgia Harvey taking over on serve. That serve making its way over to Maeve Driscoll. Driscoll trying to go cross court with the return, but that one met at the apex of the net and dropped back down. And Franklin right now firing on all cylinders. Another serve towards Driscoll. This time she's able to get the return back across. And now from the near side, that one sent out of play as Milford keeps the arms down on the back row, with that one sailing out of play. Now here is Carly Haley on serve. Another shot drifting out of play for Franklin. You can see a lot of power from all areas of the floor for this Panthers roster. Haley with another serve. Pushed across two-handed by Franklin. It's met on the back row by Syed. Now Driscoll will return it. And there is Katrina Ledger onto the floor. She gets a big block. She read that one well. Milford trying to gain some traction and facing a hard blast courtesy of Michaela Kuykendall. Think back to some of the previous generations of this Milford varsity girls volleyball team when they had the likes of Ali Zagami, Kelly Reichert, players that had that good hard blast from the outside that just added an additional dynamic to those teams that made a couple of deep playoff runs. And this current generation of Scarlet Hawks have a lot of skill across the floor, but one of the things that we haven't seen a tremendous amount of is that raw velocity, but very nice placement on that return there to earn Milford a point. Maeve Driscoll, talk about placement, there it is again, right to the center of the floor, out of everyone's reach, and an ace for Driscoll that cuts the deficit to 9 points. Over the middle. That one out of play and some indecision from the officials. And they're going to ultimately award the point to Franklin. The return did go out of play on the near sideline, but it seems as though an infraction on the Milford side results in Franklin getting the benefit of the call. 10-point lead again, 4 more points for the set for the Panthers. To the back row, diving play for Driscoll. Emily Croto gets it back on the floor, And Carly Haley gets it back across. A nice high difficulty, rangy play there for Milford, and quickly brought to a close with a nice return for Franklin. And that's just the kind of pressure that this Panthers team can put on you. Even after an excellent play, they come right back with a high quality shot. And this time Franklin dropping the serve just out on the far sideline. Little flip over the middle, and a held ball on the Franklin side. Now Nicolette Mackey with Milford trailing 22-13. Nicely dug out on the back row by Milford. Now here's Syed up the far sideline. Franklin continuing to change up the tempo on these returns. Molly Hartman delivering that one, a little trouble picking it up by the front row, but it's returned out on the far sideline. Milford continuing to try to make adjustments. Another service error puts Franklin now 2 points shy of the set. Milford fighting hard to make it competitive here in the first. And Franklin answers right back with a service error of their own on Rachel Taylor. And so Milford able to cut the deficit down to 9. They've got a lot of work to do without a lot of time left in the set as Emily Croto serves. Again, it's Lacerda from that left side spot, so dangerous, and she sets up a series of set point chances here for the Franklin Panthers, up now 24-15. And substitutions coming out on the floor. Who will take over on serve to try to close things down? It looks like it will be Sasha Tracy. It is all juniors and seniors on this roster with the exception of Michaela Coy-Kendall, who is a freshman. Here's Isabella Borges looking to keep hope alive for Milford. They'll set it up for Lacerda. This time Milford blocks it, and everyone sucked in tight to the net on the Franklin side. That drops down for a point. Another good block. Not easy to do, knowing that a very hard hit ball is coming your way. But a fearless play up front, and another opportunity here in the set for Milford, down 24-16, still set point for the Panthers. Flipped over, Hartman. Now Isabella Borges returns it over quickly. Deflected to the net, and that sneaks its way across. Now to the far side, and that deflects off of the hands of Molly Hartman and out. And that will close things off. So Milford getting better as that set went along, but just not enough time to mount a comeback. It's a 25-16 opening set victory for the Franklin Panthers. We'll take a quick pause here as we transition to second set action, which will come your way right after this here on Milford TV. Welcome back into the Milford Gym, everybody. Tim Coet here on the call for this coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. We're now in the second set of this varsity girls volleyball matchup between Milford and Franklin. Milford getting a block at the net on the first rally of the second set, but the ball lands out of play, so the first point going to the Panthers, who claimed the first set moments ago, 25-16. And that ball dropping in front of Aliza Syed with pinpoint accuracy, and so we mentioned it briefly right at the end of the first set, but this is a upperclassman-dominated roster with seniors and juniors, with the one exception of Michaela Coy-Kendall, who is a freshman. Coy-Kendall finishing off that last opportunity with a kill down the line, and now Milford with some communication breakdown between Carly Haley and Katrina Ledger, and it's a quick 3-0 start. But that just goes to show you the ability for this program to continue to turn over talent, losing a lot from a very talented roster last year to graduation, having juniors and seniors to step up into those critical roles, and to have a player like Coy-Kendall come up as a freshman, already set to make an impact on the varsity roster. It's what every program really loves to see. Meanwhile, a nice scramble there for Ava Davies, sticking the hand out, punching that ball back across, and it gets Franklin ultimately in position for the point. 4-0 start. Milford was able to make things interesting in the late stages of that first set, but could not overcome an early deficit. It's Megan Linkila on serve now for the Panthers, one of the tri-captains. And with this 5-0 start for the Panthers, Coach Weber calling another timeout, trying to rally her troops. And for Milford, really the objective in front of them is they want to be able to finish the season at least 500 or better, qualify for the MIAA tournament, and take their chances from there. They come into this matchup this afternoon right at that 500 mark at 5-5. After this match concludes today, there will be 7 matches remaining on Milford's schedule. And that includes some tough matchups with the likes of Attleboro, also King Philip on that schedule, and a second matchup with this Panthers team in Franklin late in the season as well, and then a matchup with non-conference Hopedale, which always ends up as a competitive battle between those schools as well. So Milford will certainly make it their objective to try to stay at this 500 mark or better. Trailing in this match 1-0, trying to get on the board here in the second set. And a mishandle on the far side by junior Jen Suhu gives Milford finally their first point of this set. And meanwhile, an ace in response for Maeve Driscoll. Over the middle now and past the dive of Driscoll on the back row. After this game wraps up today, we still have 2 more girls volleyball games on our coverage calendar, and they will come in consecutive games just a little bit later on this month. We'll get to more details on that as the broadcast goes along. Soft little return as Taylor Lacerda shows off her wide array of shots. A 7-2 score, and it is is now the freshman Koi Kendall. The senior Eliza Syed gets a deflection and then a lob back across. And now a diving play, nicely done by Linkila. Another feed for Syed, and finally she's able to get the kill. Took a lot of extra shots to finally find the solution to get a point there for Milford. A couple of players going after that ball into the dive. It's Linkila who delivers the return. Croto with the setup for Molly Hartman towards the middle of the floor. And again, it is Koi Kendall. Soft return for Syed, and that ultimately did not get over the net. Too many touches is the call. And an 8-3 score now in favor of the Panthers. Rachel Taylor now serving. Slapped over by Syed. And then out on the far sideline, a point for the Scarlet Hawks. It will keep Milford within 4. Substitution here, bringing Isabella Borges back onto the floor. Emily Croto with the serve. And a hard return sent into the net by Suhu. Back row here. A return now for Lacerda, and Maeve Driscoll slides over, makes an outstanding play. Another chance for Suhu, and they'll say that ball went out behind the back line, a close one. Driscoll unable to make contact. Now a little flip. Croto into a long dive to try to save it. Sounded like she came down a bit hard on the floor there, but does not show any ill effects as she regroups after the play. It's a 9-6 lead for the Panthers. A much more competitive start. Or what I should say is a quick adjustment here for Milford, as Franklin came out roaring with a 5-0 start. It's been more even since then, but Milford back into a 4-point hole. And a long deflection off the hands of Syed. It also took a hop off of the basketball hoop. Mackey, Croto, and Syed, and a deflection off the hands of Lacerda down for a Milford point. Keeping it within 4. Lisa Syed on serve now for the Scarlet Hawks. The setup for Lacerda. A little tricky setup in the end. She had to almost go parallel to the net, but sent a good return across. And she'll send this one to the back row where Syed is able to dig it out. Over the middle for Grace Lacerda. Here's Driscoll now towards the back. Lined up for Koi Kendall. The freshman racks up another kill. Taylor Lacerda now will take over on serve with her team leading 12-7 in this set. Sasha Tracy trying to catch Milford by surprise. Sets it up for Koi Kendall, gets a deflection and the kill. And so again, the speed on these shots, the power behind these returns for Franklin. Proving difficult for Milford to defend against. Over to the far side. And that one going out of play. Coach Redmond over to chat with her team after that particular play. It looks like initially Franklin thought they had the point. It's now a 13-8 score. And that ball blasted right over towards Coach Weber. Driscoll able to find it. Croto able to knock it back across. And a dive now for Croto. Again Driscoll over to the sideline. And again Milford is able to get the return. And now blocked up front. Borges and Ledger both there. And a real team effort on that point for Milford. Athletic plays for Croto and Driscoll to keep a couple of those points alive. And ultimately, the block up front giving Milford the point. So Franklin still leads by 5. Georgia Harvey serving. And another good block, but Franklin able to keep that off the floor. I don't know how they were able to react to that. And now the return goes out. The point goes to Milford. Isabella Borges went down awkwardly after the play. She will go to the sideline. Looks to be okay. She came down, might have turned the ankle a bit as she went up for the block. A lot going on that point. Franklin, a mad scramble with bodies laid out on the floor, keeping that ball alive. And now a quick push across. Syed returns. A deficit down to 4 at the moment for Milford. They'll be back up to 5 as that ball deflects hard off the hands of Eliza Syed and out of play. So the score at 15-10 as Megan Linkila will once again take over on serve. Over towards Syed. She makes the play. Keela will set it up for Rachel Taylor to get the return. Now Ledger with her back to the net. That ball might have been on its way out. Franklin in a scramble. They stay calm. And now Driscoll trying to get a little extra on that return, but instead sent it into the net. A 16-10 lead now for the Panthers as Croto travels a long way to set up Eliza Syed. And another kill for Michaela Coy-Kendall, forcing Milford into another timeout. So much poise, terrific decision-making, court vision for the Franklin freshman. Part of the impressive skill display we've seen so far for one of the teams in a tie for first place in the Kelly Rex division. They are tied along with the Attleboro Bombardiers. And you want to talk about underclassmen really leading the way in girls volleyball. These two teams atop the Kelly Rex standings, Franklin and Attleboro, a great example of that. You have Michaela Coy-Kendall, the freshman, playing a critical role for this Panthers team, and over in Attleboro, the potential MVP of the Hockomock League for girls volleyball in Julia Leonardo. We had a chance to see Leonardo last year as a freshman come in here to Milford and dominate a 3-set sweep victory. And she has continued to light up the Hockomock League. lot of outstanding skill across the Hawk in girls volleyball, and a lot of it in the younger ranks. You can see as the players broke from the timeout, trying to stay cool. Hot conditions here in the gym, despite how cool it has been for much of the last week. Warming up quite a bit today with temperatures touching 70 degrees. And of course, anytime it's warm outside, it's about twice as warm here in the gym without a lot of airflow. A day that would have been outstanding for outdoor sports, but inside a little bit toasty for these volleyball teams. An 18-10 lead now for the Panthers, as Katrina Ledger lets a return shot go, and another rangy play for Taylor Lacerda. Milford again will leave it for Maeve Driscoll. Lacerda digs it out in the back. Jen Suhu from the far side sends it over but out. Driscoll now on serve. Coy Kendall able to save that. Franklin returns, and now it is the deflection off the return shot by Syed. Quick hands, and ultimately Milford can't get the angle for the return. You can see players preaching more communication on the Milford side. Franklin closing to within 6 points of a commanding 2-0 lead as their freshman star delivers another serve. Takes the hop off of Maeve Driscoll's hands and is not playable from there for the Scarlet Hawks. Now a hard turn as that ball came off the hands of Maeve Driscoll back towards the center of the net. No one there to play it. And that's up to a 10-point lead in the set now for the Panthers. Coy Kendall wasting no time. Now the return for Emily Croto is played on the back row by Coy Kendall, and then clobbered back across by Taylor Lacerda. Continuing to be an outstanding 1-2 punch on the Franklin attack. This has been an extended service game now for Coy Kendall. Katrina Ledger sending that ball squarely into the net. Another serve away, and another tough deflection. And a whole bunch of set points coming up now for the Panthers, on the verge of taking a 2-0 advantage. Coy Kendall wanting to be the one to end it. To the front, punched across by Ledger, and that drifted hard back towards the net. No one home for Franklin. Milford will get another serve. It will come from Nicolette Mackey. To the far sideline. Lacerda to the back. And the official up top could not get a read on that serve. And so they will replay the point. Tough to judge from our angle. A little bit of a glare on the back line on Milford's side of the floor. And now a mishit for Megan Linkila. Continues to be set point for the Panthers, up 24-13 now. And it's Lacerda up the near sideline, but out. So Milford fighting off a series of set points. They look to do it again, but Mackey's serve ends up in the net, and so that will do it. Milford fighting to the end in that set, but in the end, the Panthers able to take it by a final margin of 25-14. So it has been Franklin domination in the Milford gym so far in this match. 2-0 advantage for the Panthers. We will transition on to set number 3 in just a moment here on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. As always, we thank you so much for joining us on our coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV. Tim Coed on the call, Patrick Garapi once again helping out on camera for this evening. And if you happen to be a fan of the Franklin Panthers tuning in to this coverage, either live or via playback, you have liked what you have seen so far out of your team. Franklin with a 2-0 advantage. Franklin coming in with 8 victories, all via the 3-set sweep on the season, looking to make it number 9. Milford hoping to avoid that. Claiming the first point of the set. This, I believe, is the first lead that Milford has had at any point tonight. Serve up the far sideline, and that's on the line. And we'll go as an ace for Carly Haley. And that ball getting deflected out, and meanwhile an issue with the scoreboard, sending Coach Weber over to the sideline. The fans were irate as well, now adjusted properly. So adjusted properly, it is a 3-1 lead for Milford, and the fans ready to pounce. We talked about how there have been some scoreboard issues here for girls volleyball this season. It had been a clean start to the night, but some issues creeping up there, quickly adjusted. Carly Haley over to Emily Croto to get the return. Now to the back, quick hands for Syed. She'll get back into the play over the middle. And a little bit of late reaction for Franklin, something we have not seen very much. A 4-1 start now for Milford as that serve is dug out on the back by Georgia Harvey. Now a long way for Milford to go, and a headlong dive towards the back wall for Carly Haley, giving it her all. Dangerous to see that head first dive, especially where that padding does not go all the way down to the floor. Haley able to stop her momentum before making contact with the wall. Regardless, now it is a 4-2 score. Coy Kendall back on serve, had that extended run on serve for Franklin late in the second set, now delivers an ace, and it's down to a 1-point lead for Milford. To the far sideline where it's played by Maeve Driscoll, two-handed over by the libero Nicolette Mackey, and now it's Lacerda with a missile to the back row. Driscoll was able to get there. Croto tracks it down on the far sideline, and Milford gets it back across. And then quick hands up front get the kill. A nice way for Milford to neutralize the power of Lacerda, get that ball back across, and ultimately win the point. Looks like we may be in need of a roster refresh for Milford. Spotting some numbers on the sideline that did not make their way into the original roster on the season. Let's see if we can do some detective work online to figure that out, as this ball ends in a point for the Panthers. Roster online has not been updated either, so we will certainly effort to get a fresh roster from Coach Weber before our next game. Our apologies for having a little bit of incomplete information on the team. Sprawling play here for Driscoll, but that ball's going to end up out of play. Milford with a much better start to this third set, but their lead is now cut down to 1. A serve coming from Leah Cook. Now Lacerda, the dive for Maeve Driscoll, but that ended up off to the sideline into a couple of JV players. And that will tie this third set score up at 6 apiece. Taylor with a service error on the Franklin side gives Milford the lead back for the moment. Emily Croto on serve for Milford. That one quickly past Croto's reach. Good speed on the return for Grace Lacerda. Coach Redmond with more personnel changes, with the score tied up at 7. Sasha Tracy out to take over on serve. That return shot for Isabella Borges is sent into the net, and that will give the Panthers their first lead of the third set, now at 8-7. Scroto setting it on the far side for Elisa Syed. Maeve Driscoll once again patrolling that back line. Across the middle, that one too strong for Koi Kendall. Overall, in recent head-to-head meetings, it has been the Franklin Panthers who have been able to get the better of Milford. Tracing back to 2016, Franklin has won 6 of the last 8 head-to-head meetings against Milford. The only victories for the Scarlet Hawks in there came back in 2019 in a 3-1 victory. They also won 3-1 back in 2016. Other than that, Franklin getting the better of Milford, and in the last 4 head-to-head meetings over the course of the 2021 Fall 2 season and then last year's fall season. In those 4 head-to-head meetings, Milford has only won 1 set. That came in their first meeting of last season. Milford hoping they can grab this third set to extend the match, but right now Franklin finds themselves in front in what has been the closest played set in the match so far. Here's Driscoll. She gets a deflection from the front. Lacerda sends it right to Syed. And then out of the reach of Lacerda in the back, able to get a hand on it. Milford knots it back up, now at 10. And so, meanwhile, Carly Haley checking back into the game. Now wearing number 14, so not sure if she had a uniform issue. But at least temporarily trading in her number 1 for number 14. Point for the Panthers to pull them back in front. Captain Megan Linkila will once again serve for the Panthers. Still belief in the Milford stands. Nice dive for Nicolette Mackey, but couldn't get that ball high enough for one of her teammates to come in support. It's now a 2-point lead for the Panthers. Milford a couple of times had a 3-point lead in this third set. That serve delivered out, so it'll stay close here. Return shot delivered long, and again we see this set tied up. Number of ties and lead changes in a seesaw third set. Franklin able to get to that in the front row, but it spins across the net front. Drops down on the Panthers side of the floor. Milford back in front now, 13-12. A service error for Driscoll will end that run for now for the Scarlet Hawks. Back to Michaela Koy-Kendall in the service game for the Panthers. Set up for Jen Suhu for the return. Now on the back for Koy-Kendall. Proto ready. Now driven back across by Mackey. Lacerda. Taylor Lacerda able to get the kill. 14-13 now in favor of the Panthers. Proto will set it up on the left side. And into the net on the return for Syed. Franklin now by 2. Mackey steps in to dig that out. The return over the middle. Lacerda getting a couple of deflections on her return. It's been a fairly balanced offensive attack this season for the Panthers as we enter into a timeout. Franklin now leading this third set by 3. It is Taylor Lacerda who leads the attack for Franklin with 75 kills coming into this match today. Michaela Koy-Kendall second on the list with 57 kills, and then Grace Lacerda with 41. Megan Linkila leads Franklin in aces with 27. Lacerda right behind with 26. Good block numbers for Franklin on the season. Rachel Taylor leading that category with 23 total blocks. Grace Lacerda with 13 total blocks. And then defensively, it is Taylor Lacerda who leads the team in digs with 65. On the Milford side, we mentioned Eliza Syed leads in kills. She also leads in aces with 22. Emily Croto has 21. Eliza also leads Milford in blocks. She has 6 total blocks on the season. Nicolette Mackey leads in digs for the Scarlet Hawks with 99. Maeve Driscoll second in that category with 72. All those stats coming into this match this evening. Return out of the timeout. Franklin on a roll, now leading by 3. Syed to the back row. And now Taylor Lacerda driving a return into the net. And that cuts it back down to a 2-point deficit for Milford, and Nicolette Mackey will now take over on serve. Swatted across by Lacerda this time. Here's Molly Hartman. Her shot rejected. Good play up front with that combination of Rachel Taylor and Jen Suhu. Taylor will now take over on serve. It's back up to a 3-point Panthers advantage. Syed getting the deflection. Franklin a little late reacting. And good spirits about it after, as it cuts the score down to a 2-point Panthers lead. Emily Croto will take over on serve for the Scarlet Hawks. A hard return that misses beyond the back line. So Milford grabs a couple of points back, pulls it to within one. Mackey for Hartman, and Hartman can't get enough elevation on the return. Sasha Tracy ranges back behind the service line to collect the loose ball. She will serve here for the Panthers, who lead 18-16. That serve drops down just out of play on the far sideline. Bit of a delay there in the call. Serve right back to Milford for Elisa Syed. Berto for Driscoll this time. I believe that was deflected out of play for a Milford point. That ties us back up at 18, so looks like we'll head down the back stretch of the set with a very close matchup here. Quick flip across for Tracy. And again, Tracy having to lunge for that ball, able to get the return and puts it down for the kill. Franklin able to retake the lead with not a lot of time remaining. Franklin now within 6 points of the match. Croto sets it up for Driscoll, who sends it on the outside of the antenna. Pushes Franklin to an even 20 points. Coy Kendall again from the left side. Driscoll with the response. And now that ball sent cross court out on the far sideline. Milford keeping hope alive. They're down by 1 point, 20-19. Molly Hartman serving. A long way to go for Sasha Tracy, and keeps that alive for the Panthers. Terrific scramble again. Now a hard blast sent over and out of play. Good return for Jenna Simone, a junior for the Panthers. The lead stands at 2. Georgia Harvey serving for Franklin. Dug out by Lacerda on the back. Coy Kendall. And then a block over the middle for Rachel Taylor off the Syed shot. And Coach Tammy Weber will call a timeout here with Milford's back up against the wall now. Just 3 points away from the match now for Franklin on top 22-19. We'll have more in the late stages of this third set in just a moment here on Milford TV. Back out of the timeout. Georgia Harvey serving now for Franklin. With the 22-19 Panthers lead. That ball takes a hop out of play after dropping down for a Panthers point. And that drops inside that back line, perfectly placed. An ace for Harvey sets up match point chances now for the Franklin Panthers. 1 point away from their 9th three-set sweep of the season. Serve away for Harvey. Driscoll, Croto, and then Aliza Syed mishandling that return. And that finishes things up for the night. The most competitive set of the night, but ultimately it goes to the Panthers, who go on to win this match in a three-set sweep. And so this first place Panthers team comes in and shows a lot of skill in this victory here tonight. With the victory, Franklin will improve to 9-2 overall on the season. With the loss, Milford will fall back a game below 500. They are now 5-6 overall on the year. A road game against the Oliver Ames Tigers comes next for the Scarlet Hawks, followed by a trip down to Attleboro to face that very tough first place Bombardiers squad. Milford's next home game will come on October 17th against the North Attleboro Rocketeers. That's going to wrap things up on our coverage for tonight. We hope you will join us again tomorrow night, as we will be back with more live Scarlet Hawks athletics coverage down at the football field as Milford hosts the North Attleboro Rocketeers in a Week 5 football matchup, with coverage kicking off live on YouTube at 7 p.m. We hope you will join us then. Until next time, a big thank you to Patrick Garapi for helping out on the coverage tonight, and I am Tim Coet. The final score one final time in this one: Milford falls to Franklin in a three-set sweep. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.